Hey guys, we're here at McNally Jackson Bookstore in Midtown Manhattan, and we're about to surprise some people who think that they're part of a promotional campaign for Michelle Obama's new book, The Light We Carry. They're going to press a button to hear inspirational quotes from the former First Lady, Michelle Obama, but what they don't know is that the real Michelle Obama will be reading them the quotes live.
That is me.
Ready?
Let's do this.
I was going to get this, Susie.
Please press the button. Please press the button to hear an inspirational quote from Michelle. Ow.
We practice our faith
in the smallest of ways. With it, we are saying, I can. We are
saying, I care.
Simon says, touch your head. Simon says, touch your shoulders. Press the button. Simon didn't say. Now pose for a picture. 3, 2, 1. Turn around.
Smile, ladies.
Turn around, please.
Simon says,
Oh, my God! So nice to meet you.
Hi, Jimmy.
It's so...
Press the button.
We practice our faith in the smallest of ways. With it, we are saying, I can.
We are saying, I care.
Simon says, touch your head. Simon says, scream.
Louder.
Simon didn't say that last one.
Well, Michelle Obama did.
You lose.
But maybe you didn't lose.
Oh, my God! Wow!
Because my mother had faith in me,
I had faith in me too.
Mother's Day is coming up. What are you getting your mother?
Let's see.
You can pick up a few books right now.
please.
Buy my book. Pretty please?
With sugar
On top?
Please grab a book
Are
and
you
look.
ready?
Oh, it's Michelle Obama.
Tools evolve over time. And speaking of time,
It's time to dance.
show us your best moves.
Go. Drop it low. To the floor. Down lower. Go. 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 Go.
Now pose for a picture. 3, 2, turn.
Go. You've got some great moves.
Thank you.
Aw.
Just for going through this entire journey with grace.
Oh, sweet.
That's what you are. And to have the opportunity to say that to you, thank you.
Oh, sweetie pie. Oh, that means everything. It means everything to me.
Thank you for stopping by, and thank you
Thanks for having me.
thanks for playing yet again. We did another
We
fun.
have played so much.
We've had so many fun bits.
You know, the first crazy skit I did, if you all recall, was
in the White
in the White House, and we did a potato sack race in the East Room.
That's right, we did.
You were the first silly I had.
I like being the first silly. I
So
love that.
thank you for that.
I gotta say, I love having you. I love talking to you, obviously, but to see people's reaction to you next to you it makes me feel so good. People love you. I mean, we all love you, but we really.
Look, I don't take it for granted. Look, we don't get out much. So it's just nice to hear what it all meant to people, particularly young people. So
Yeah.
I don't take any of that for granted.
Do you ever get starstruck anymore? Or
Oh, phew, Questlove.
oh come on! Come on!
Absolutely, I get
do?
starstruck. Well, maybe not exactly right now in this moment,
But
but
when
in
you
the course of my life. I mean, you just imagine the people that we met. Stevie, you know, when I first met Stevie Wonder.
Yes, of course.
I mean, I was just like, Stevie! I fangirled out.
You have to, yeah.
You know, Prince. I mean, Prince played at the White House months before he passed, actually, and just, I know, it was just...
Isn't he great, the way that Prince was also as a person? I've had conversations with your husband about this, too, that everyone is kind of who they should be. They should be. Like, Prince is a magical...
He appears.
Yes! Yes, he kind of like a puff of smoke.
You know,
he just kind of shows up.
He's in the Blue Room standing in front of President Obama. He's just like, yeah.
He's just cool.
Still right here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, so, yes, I fangirl out all the time.
Congratulations on The Light We Carry. It's
Thank
another
you. Thank you.
New York Times bestseller. And the book, you dedicate the book to your parents.
Oh, my God,
which,
yes.
Which I do love. You've talked about the influence that your father's had on you, but also there's a whole chapter here about your mom.
Marion.
Yes.
She deserved a chapter. She's, you know, my parents are where I get any wisdom that I have. And the fact that she allowed me to even say her name in the book is a big deal. Because Marion Robinson isn't impressed with anything at any time. So I had to ask permission. I was like, Mom, we were trying to get her to write a book. She's like, nobody wants to hear what I have to say. I was like, no, Mom. Everybody
wants to hear,
what you have to say.
She does have some great tried and true parenting in the book. Number 5 is Come Home, We Will Always Like You Here.
Yeah.
That is true.
I mean, let me tell you how grounding that is, and for parents, it's important to remember, because she said that because she knew that as kids of color, as women, as a woman, young black woman in the world, that I would be confronted with a lot of people who would set my bar low for me. Yeah. You know, she knew we were going to hear racial insults. She knew what we were going to confront, and she never wanted us to get our self-worth from outside the home because we couldn't count on it. So that maxim is, don't sweat the small stuff. Don't lose it because a teacher doesn't like you, because somebody called you a bad word. Don't let your self-esteem be based on that. You know, get your self-worth at home. Yeah. And so that's a powerful thing for all parents to remember, but it's an important thing for adults to remember as we deal with young people, that our words to them matter, you know? Yeah. What we say, how we treat them, it has an impact, because some kids don't have a home to go to feel that love. So I think about that every time I interact with a kid, that my interaction with them may be the time they feel safe and they feel at home. So I want everybody to think about that.
That goes
so
far.
I got that.
So far. I love that. How are the kids?
Kids are good.
Sasha,
those
Malia,
two. They're not kids.
They're
grown.
7 years old? How old are they?
That's how the world sees them. They'll be 25 and 22.
When did it happen?
Yeah, you all are old.
When did that happen?
I know, before our very eyes. All I can say is, no more babies, no more tuition. Bye. It's like, here's your life.
There you go. Yeah, let me know how it works. Yeah. But now they're living together, right? They're roommates?
Right now they are, yeah.
Do you visit them?
We visited them once. Okay. When we're your parents, you don't really want us around that much. You know? Really? So, but we did get invited over for cocktails before dinner, because we had to take them out to dinner, and they invited us over for cocktails.
No.
Oh, yeah.
No,
oh, yeah.
You don't drink a cocktail.
Oh, and not only did they drink it, but they made one.
No!
Now, it was a bad martini. It was very weak in a tumbling glass. They stumbled through. It was mostly vermouth and ice.
I still do the same now.
Well, maybe it wasn't even vermouth, because I don't even think that they knew vermouth was in a
that's
martini.
Exactly it. But they're trying to impress you with the martini.
Oh, yeah. And a charcuterie tray.
Ooh.
Which they complained about the price of cheese.
That's good.
Malia's like, do you know how much I paid for that cheese? And I was like, yeah, girl, you eat my cheese all the time.
Exactly. Now you...
Never worried about the price when you eat my charcuterie tray. It's like,
You've always said when we've talked about the kids that you want to give them the most normal childhood that you possibly can while you're living in the White House, which has got to be tough. But I remember we were saying even Barack coached their basketball team?
yes, yeah, he was dad in the White House.
How did you sneak out and do that, though? How's that possible?
You know, it's amazing. You know, and he wasn't assigned to be the coach. This was 4th grade rec league for little girls, right? Sasha was playing, and he and Reggie Love, who was his aide at the time, who was a Division I player for Duke, they would sit and watch these girls not have their shoes tied. They weren't running plays because it was a parent-coach league, right?
Yeah, also,
So
they're in
slowly-
4th grade.
They're in 4th grade, but Barack Obama felt that they could do better. So each game, he would slide closer down to the players' bench and whisper to the parent coaches, who I'm sure were like, oh my God, it's the president telling me to run a play. Eventually, he took over. He had them practicing. He taught them plays. And the funny thing is, like, it wasn't only Sasha on the team, but it was Maisie Biden, Joe's youngest granddaughter. They're very good friends. So imagine it on any given Sunday in a rec gym in Chevy Chase, because we all came out, right?
Yeah.
You're playing against the Vipers. That was their name. They were the Vipers.
Yeah.
It would be the president, the vice president, the first, second lady, all the kids, and all of our details. So you imagine being the poor kids on the other team with Joe yelling, Maisie, pass the ball, box out. You know, at the time, I would have to tell him, chill out.
Yeah.
You know, these kids, I think that little girl is crying because the president's yelling at her.
How did they end up doing?
They won the championship.
Come on, that's exactly right.
The Vipers.
God, more with Michelle Obama when we come back. I noticed that you went back to the White House recently. You haven't been back.
No.
Since
Wasn't invited.
Ooh,
shade.
Wow. Wow. I'm adding a chapter right here. Hold on.
Oh, yeah.
And so you return. What did it feel like to go back and you go, oh yeah, I lived a lot of time in this place.
Yeah. We were good when it was time to go. No, it was really a beautiful experience because you know, that's a tradition. You do your official portraits. The next president is supposed to invite you back to hang them. We were never invited back. So these pictures have been done for a long, long time. So, but it's also a chance for the staff to come back and reminisce and to be together. It's a ritual. So it was good to see everybody. It was good to see all of the staff. I mean, as quiet as it's kept, my girls lived in the White House longer than they lived any house.
Yeah.
So that's where they grew up. So to go back and to see all the staff that are still there, to see, you know, all the people that they grew up with, it was really, well, the girls weren't there at the time, but it was good for Barack and I to see everyone.
Do you ever have dreams that you still live there?
Oh, no. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that like that. It's like, no, I don't have dreams.
You don't ever go like, oh yeah, I'll go down the steps here and I do that?
No. Funny story, at Biden's inauguration, all the formers gathered and they were doing a public service announcement, and then we had to leave. And this is the first time Barack attended, I think he was there when somebody else's presidential motorcade was out. So he walks out, and usually the first car up is the president, right? And he goes walking to the first car. And his security is like, sir, that's not your car. He's like, okay, well, where do I go? So we had to pass the presidential motorcade, then the VP, and then we went way back.
Wow.
And then it was ours, because you go in descending order.
You're like, but I was just.
But the thing was, we were so glad to get in that back motorcade and to go home.
Yeah.
To our house.
To your actual house.
You know, that's the progress of democracy. You do your time, you pass it on, you let the next president lead, and
yeah.
So it was. It's kind of a relief.
In this book, there's so many great stories about your life. There's also tips on how to deal with what we're dealing with, or with everything with what we all had, isolation with COVID, and it's just everything's kind of touched in this book. And one thing I loved is the power of small.
Yeah, that's one of the early chapters, because I wrote this chapter particularly for young people who are feeling so anxious about the state of the world. I mean, no wonder climate change, riots on Capitol Hill, gun violence, on and on. And these young kids as young as 15, are trying to figure out how to solve these problems, and they're getting all twisted because they don't yet have the power, because they're trying to bite off too much too soon. And so the power of small is to focus on what you can uniquely control. And for a kid in high school, it's graduating from high school. You know, get your education, because you can't do that. You can't end violence in your neighborhood unless you focus on what's at hand. So starting small, even for us as adults, is about focus on your own knitting, because there's power in that. You know, if each of us just raised the children we bring into the world, you know, we did nothing else but do that, oh, just imagine where we would be as a nation, as a human race, if we just took care of that. Yeah. You know, if we showed them the love and the focus, and if we put our time and energy into that instead of trying to solve all the big problems. So change happens in small bites. It's not just the big stuff.
Yeah, because it starts small, then it goes to a family, then it goes to a community, and
absolutely.
It's great. There's also a chapter dedicated to when they go low, we go high.
Well, people still keep asking me, you still mean that?
Yeah. But that was an epic line. That was just it's stuck in everyone's head. Did you realize how powerful that would be years after?
No, I didn't know I'd be known for that line, but I'm proud of that. People ask me, do I ever go low? And yeah, I go low. You go low a lot of times, but I think for people who have a platform, who are being looked up to, we have a responsibility to stay high, because kids are watching us. If you need to go low at home. Do it with your kitchen table, with your spouse. But we set the example, because leaders set the tone. And we felt what it's felt like to be led with low. And it didn't feel great. That's why it's important. It's a practice. It's a habit. It's something we show the next generation. That doesn't mean we settle. That doesn't mean we're complacent. It means we think before we speak, because words matter. And I still believe that. And I try the best that I can when I am in the public eye, when I know that kids are watching, to stay high, because high begets high.
That's right. You went on a book tour around the country, and you had amazing conversations with amazing people. Our pal Gayle King, who we love, Tyler Perry,
lots of great
Hoda Kotb,
David Letterman. Oh, so many great conversations.
Conan O'Brien.
Yeah, well, all right.
I mean,
you were busy.
Yeah. It's interesting, but you know, it's always time for another book. You know. But the list is an amazing people, and you turned it into a podcast.
Yeah.
And this is great. It's a great thing. You have to listen to it. It's such great conversation.
The Light podcast. So for those who missed the book tour, we've recorded every conversation, edited it down to the best of the best. And, you know, it touches on the book, but we also each share our own stories of finding light and developing friendships and relationships. It's really a fun set of conversations that are now on Audible. And
then you have one of the interviews or the conversations are with Oprah Winfrey.
The one and only.
Yeah, Oprah Winfrey, and it airs. That Oprah. Mm-hmm. And it's airing on April 25th on Netflix as a special.
Yeah, that will be televised, because when you're with Oprah, you just televise it.
I just feel like, you have to televise it, but you have actually become friends with Oprah Winfrey. Now, you guys are really...
I mean, Oprah was one of the very early supporters before Barack was even thinking about running. I mean, she spotted him when he was a U.S. Senator, and she has sort of been... Oprah is that person who never asks for anything, but is always there with her generosity and love and support. There isn't anything you can't ask her to do if you're a friend that she won't try to do. So she is who she appears to be.
Yeah.
And I am lucky to call her friend.
I want to show a clip from your special. Here's a look at The Light We Carry, Michelle Obama and Oprah Winfrey.
When you first arrived in Hawaii, you were looking for, and I understand why, you're a working woman and had never been to Hawaii, so
yeah.
you're looking for the Hawaii on Hawaii Five-0.
Yes.
Those of you who remember that show.
Mai Tais
and honeymoons.
Sunsets on the beach.
And honeymoon suites.
But
instead,
it was a trip home to visit his family. That's where he was from. He wasn't going back to some island vacation. He was going back to be with his people. But I was young, and it was cold in Chicago, and I thought, I'm going to Hawaii with my man. It's going to be so romantic. And then we landed, and we went straight to Toot and Gramps' apartment. No ocean. There's a high-rise building. Go up to the 10th floor, walk in. Looks like my grandparents' house. Might as well be on the south side of Chicago.
Isn't that reality? I love it. Michelle Obama, everybody. The Light We Carry, Michelle Obama and Oprah Winfrey, premieres April 25th on Netflix. More Tonight Show after the break. Stick around. Thank you, as always.